Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of No Pause. Last time, we got destroyed by the No Pause, by the Great Austrian Empire. And, yeah, the game is paused because I just loaded in. So, don't. I know someone's writing in the comments. Look, you're typing. I know who you are. I'm seeing you type right now. Why is it no pause if you're paused? Well, fuck you. I'm about to surrender to the Austrians. They're not gonna accept white peace. It would have been nice to accept white peace, but I don't think they can do that. Anyway, we got destroyed. Last time by the greatness of the AI, and this is actually the historical sort of outcome of this war. Now the Frenchies are the Bonapartists, so in theory they had the. Oh no, they're a republic. What the Yo, shut up, phone. Recognize Argentina's independence. What the flying fuck? Argentina's independence? Where is that? Am I dumb? I'm dumb. Where is it? I don't see it. Oh, there it is. Sure, 1 prestige. Thank you. We got some reforms, I guess. Can do. Sure, appointed upper house sounds fine enough. I mean, do I want? I want extra immigrant attraction more so we lose less people, right? Because we're currently losing people just like everywhere. But not as much as everywhere else. Like, the Austrians are losing more people. Anyway, Hungary's still surviving, but it's gonna die. So, since we... Ooh. Culture. Do we need any culture tax at the moment? We should probably take ideological thought. And before we start the next war, we're gonna rebuild our army, which we're doing right now. Gonna rebuild our army, going to rebuild our economy. We're a little in debt. Now, this is the outcome of this war was, funnily enough, historical. Let's fund our shit again. Funnily enough, it was historical. And historically what happened is that... Oh, look, now that I'm funding our everywhere, we're actually holding people. Like, we're not getting much migration out. Incredibly. Now, what happened historically was that the First War of Independence, as it is known in Italy, was a complete disaster for a few reasons. Basically, the main one was that the Piedmont army, which was the most powerful one out of all the Italian states, still was not particularly strong by European standards. It was a what was known back then as a basically you know how in EU4 you've got quantity ideas and quality ideas. Well, basically it was a quantity army. This was a discussion that was going on, especially in the 18th century. In the 19th century, there would be kind of a synthesis between these two and the sort of conscript /levée en masse type army, which was a combination of a trained peacetime army with reserves that would be mobilized in wartime, which is what the mobilization system is supposed to represent. Now, let me actually rebuild my troops and stuff. During the 18th century, there was this sort of battle going on between these two theses of would we have a professional army that serves for a long time, like 20 years, 15 years, 20 years would be in case of Russia, which is ridiculous. Like, if you think about it, serving 20 years from like being conscripted is insane. In some other states, it wouldn't be conscription. It would be more like signing up. In some, it would be a mix, like in Britain. Britain had an officially all-volunteer army, but actually, like, a lot of recruits were convicts. because in these armies, the army was a sort of separate institution compared to the general public. This was especially common in very reactionary regimes, again, like in Russia, like in Prussia, like in the Austrian Empire. In Prussia, this would eventually evolve into something weird because the army technically would later like comprise the entire citizenry. So it would evolve into something else entirely because of the impetus of the Napoleonic Wars. And again, it would evolve into something different in France because of the Revolution. But in Austria, in Spain, and in the United Kingdom, and in Russia, this was what would remain, is the army is a separate institution from the masses. Because it needs to be loyal to the government during a crisis, we separate them as much as possible from the rest of the population. And we attempt to sort of make them into a class of their own. The peasants we conscript into the army, we conscript them randomly, and they serve for a long time. Now, what happened in Piedmont was more close to the Prussian model, in that it was not a sort of quality army where the soldier was supposed to be sort of indoctrinated into the state for as long a period as possible, which of course had the side effect of making their service time longer and thus their also military skill longer. The Piedmont army was supposed to be sort of a more patriotic army where basically the subjects of the state would be sort of encouraged to see the glory and honor of military service or whatever. Explosives factory, thank you. I like me explosives factories. Yeah, we're gonna try to maintain a decent military industry. Now, the result was that because Piedmont was sort of a frontier state between France and Austria, it had to sort of switch sides a lot in all the wars, and it also had to be extremely militarized to be a valuable enough sort of ally to both, because it couldn't defeat an Austrian or French attempt to sort of cross its territory, but it could delay them significantly, allowing the other armies to come in and sort of save the day by holding the Italian mountain passes. So in a war between France and Austria, whoever held the sort of allyship of Sardinia-Piedmont would have the upper hand. And the Savoys used this to sort of maintain the independence of their state throughout the sort of 18th century wars. And this in part also explains why they survived the Napoleonic Wars. Well, in part because, in truth, the reason they survived the Napoleonic Wars was the British. So to get back to our point about the First Italian War of Independence, Tuscany has the tricolor flag. Okay, how did this happen? They went constitutional or something? Anyway, we're gonna be great power soon, which means that we can expel the Austrians from the shitty states through influence. Good. I forget. Is this one good at all? Well, it's of course good. Sulfur production output, shared prestige. I don't know a lot of these by heart, but don't we need something for have no truce with the Austrian Empire? I'm invented nationalism and imperialism. Yeah, we could just do this. We could just do this and get the French to. Wait, do we need to be not a great power to have the Plombier Accords, which I'll explain in a bit. Yeah, one of the following must be true. Oh, allied with France. We could just ally with France, right? They will not accept. Oh, you've got too many great power allies. Wait, you've got too many? Who are you allied to? Oh, the United States. Disgusting. Beer halls. Yeah, close it. Right. What about the call for unity? We need to have invented nationalism and imperialism. Okay, yeah, that's what I thought. That's what I thought. Have invented state and government. Yeah, that's pretty good. Let's invent state and government. Sure. Normally, I would not be doing this, but we've got a lot of sort of scripted paths to forming Italy that require political thought text. So let's get ourselves political thought text. Technologies. Empiricism is 1860. I would love to be getting some industry text and some army text, but whatever. So basically, in the First War of Independence, what happened is that see, the terrain here doesn't really do justice in Victoria 2, but you can probably see what's going on. There was a lot of rivers. So by the time that this like sort of quality army was actually mobilized and ready to go, the Austrians were able to, well, this was not just because the army model of Sardinia-Piedmont was sort of naturally more reliant on mobilizing all the reserves and shit. Because again, it was not a professional army. It was more of a mobilized army, more of a mass army. So it required time to get all these people together. Instead of sort of having everyone together ready to go at once, right? Plus the actual like commander in charge, this Carlo Alberto guy who is still around for, it's kind of historically inaccurate. This was the king of Sardinia-Piedmont. If you'll recall, in part 1, we pressed a decision called the Statuto Albertino, the Albertine Statute, which was our constitution. Well, the Albert is this Albert. This was the king of Sardinia-Piedmont. He was quite the interesting guy. We don't have time to really get into him much, but he was also the commander-in-chief of the army because it's a monarchy. It's an old-fashioned monarchy, so the king is the general, and the general is the king. He was an okay general, but he was not the best general compared to especially the veteran of the Napoleonic Wars, Radetzky, who fucked us up because he's a +5 attack and +4 defense in Victoria 2, apparently. I didn't know. So he destroyed us. But yeah, basically, he was a good enough general, but he was not very aggressive. And as you can see, the terrain here, the way it works is that there's a massive river that flows down this plain. Okay, terrain map mode. This does not explain the terrain very well, now does it? But basically, this entire area in Italy is a giant flat surface. Yeah. That's surrounded by mountains. Here, that boxes this place in. So you'd think, okay, this is a giant arena in which anyone can do whatever. Wrong, because it's actually traversed by a giant river called the Po, which sort of splits it in two. It's not giant, but it's a big obstacle, especially in this time period. There were really like 2 or 3 bridges at all over the area, and there weren't many railways crisscrossing the country at this point. I can do some investment. Let's do some investment. There weren't very many railways crisscrossing the region at all. I can start influencing people. I feel like I could just influence the 2 Sicilies, which is very historically inaccurate, but it's, I suppose, somewhat possible that the 2 Sicilies could have been convinced peacefully to unite with Italy. And yeah, also Tuscany. Also the Papal. The Papal States is kind of funny because if I can get them out of the French sphere peacefully, that would be very nice. Now, since I can't ally the French Empire, oh, there we go. So they did go French Empire. Who could I even ally? The Russians? Yeah. The Russians, perhaps. Negative relations. Okay, right. Let's start doing some relations. And also the Prussians. They've got all their minor allies, so I've got no idea whether... Yeah, doesn't look like they're allied to any great power, so... And they've got overpowered people, so Sure. Actually, Prussia's a better ally, because they scale better. Anyway, so the reason why the Italians lost this first war of independence severely is that, yeah, as I said, why does the market keep fucking up with the luxury cloves? I have no idea. Also, I'm gonna subsidize the clippers because clearly we've got some issues. We've got some issues getting steel, looks like. Right, and I'm currently the bloody conservative, so I cannot... Oh, I can just... Oh, wait. Have I just created a constitutional crisis? I might have just created a constitutional crisis, but I don't care. Build a steel mill. Build an artillery... Oh, no, I've got an artillery factory here. Build an ammunition factory. We've got to build some bloody military industry. Small arms. These are going to have to be subsidized because they're not going to be profitable, but sure. Now, since I've got money, I might as well also get a stockpile because the next war isn't going to be like so... Isn't going to be so civilized as the last one. I'm going to do this. And I'm going to manually make some stockpiles. Which is something that you should probably do all the time when you play Victoria 2. It's expensive, but you're going to need to do that. And I'm going to sort of gradually ramp that up. Anyway, what? Remove minority building restrictions. What? Huh. What? Where is minority? I'm sorry for pausing, but like sometimes there's some weird shit in this game. Oh, is it in like What the fuck are you talking about? Jesse, what the fuck are you talking about? Oh, it's... No, I want assimilation rate. I want assimilation rate. Assimilation rate's good. Anyway, so, partially because of bad generalship, well, not bad generalship, but inferior generalship, which is different. Just like my generalship was inferior to the glorious AI. Combined with the sort of army model that the state had adopted, which later down the line turns out to be correct, but, you know, in that moment it was a bit of a problem for the Sardines. Meant that the first War of Independence was a complete disaster. Because, then that combined again with the terrain that I was saying, because we've got this big giant river going through the middle, right? But we've also got a bunch of smaller tributary rivers that are coming in. And, courage mining, get me some iron. That's going to increase my income. And it's also going to increase the iron supplies to my... hopefully soon to be steel mills, which are going to be feeding into my clippers, which are going to finally produce some clippers. And how are clippers on the world market at the moment? Clippers not in high demand. Oh, okay, unfortunate. Also, we've got enough soldiers. Can increase sphere of influence in Tuscany. So we've got all these tributary rivers going to the... Oh. Well, we got no soldiers in Sardinia. Going to the Po, which is the main river. And all these small rivers are giant obstacles, and basically this means that this entire region, you really cannot cross it vertically, but you're going to have trouble crossing it horizontally. The entire Austrian defensive system was sort of hinged on what was called the quadrilatero, which means like the four-angled shape, which was basically this Dietrichsbern, which not sure what that's supposed to be, but basically there was a fortress here at this lake with this river here, which controlled this axis. You couldn't go up here because it was mountains. You can in Victoria too, but you know, it was really difficult, and, you know, normally an army wouldn't do this. Only like small detachments and shit, which is where Garibaldi comes in, but we'll get to Garibaldi in a little bit. There was a fortress here, another fortress here, and another fortress here. Basically, the Austrians using this could control the access to the Greater Veneto and prevent the Italians, which were in here, from walking across. And basically, that's what happened. And then it failed, and basically the Italians lost a couple battles, and then they surrendered, because that's how it worked back then. At least for states like Sardinia. This is really strong. Jesus Christ. Plus 25%. Plus 25% ruling party support. He was a liberal in real life. We're currently the restorationists. Okay, interesting. Minus infamy, minus prestige, plus prestige, plus influence, plus diplomatic points, minus militancy and non-colonial, plus 5 industry tech research. Truth. We're about to get to Cavour in a little bit. Oh shit, how are we gonna fucking talk about both Cavour and Garibaldi while talking about gameplay? My, currently non-existent gameplay of influencing the two Sicilies and shit. Oh shit, I should probably be getting the alliance over here with the Prus, with the evil Prussian. So anyways, the defeat resulted in the abdication of Charles Albert, the king that was, yeah. Because back then, the monarchs of the House of Savoy had this really weird ideology where if the interests of the house were supreme, this weirdly enough meant that, why am I, no, stop. This weirdly enough meant that the, really, why are none of you currently being profitable? How are none of you profitable? I am really disgusted by you. Oh, well, whatever. Yeah, industry's weird when it comes to the AI because you never fucking know what's going on in the world market. Well, I'm about to give you some shit to do. Buy 2K canned food. Surely the canned food factory is going to be useful now. Yeah. Anyway, so as we said, they had this weird ideology where the interest of the house was sort of superior to everything. So what happened was that actual bad leaders would have to sort of commit Sudoku and abdicate. It's actually frighteningly common how many Savoy kings just abdicate. Basically, he's replaced by a guy called Victor Emmanuel II, which eventually would become the first king of United Italy. Pretty much not through his doing, but through the doing of this guy that we just pressed the modifier, Camillo Cavour. Basically, this guy was a aristocrat turned basically cattle baron slash railway speculator slash general speculator slash economist, and he was basically the smartest guy in the whole country, and he certainly wouldn't have protected the Piedmont economy, but he was kind of a weird liberal. He was definitely a liberal in terms of wanting to. He was very much a Britophile, Anglophile in terms of political theory. He believed that basically the UK was the most effective form of government, and well, I mean, he was probably right in this time period. And he went on a visit to the UK and was like, oh, they've got trains here. Now, here in Italy, they didn't have trains by that time, which was the early 50s, which is the time he sort of rose up and started to take control of government. They didn't have trains, so he brought trains in, got super rich off of them. Also was managing sort of the family estates and shit, so he became a he became a kind of like Sardinian-Piedmontian Jeff Bezos, except he also wanted to be the president, or the prime minister. I'm saying the president because I'm making American. I'm making it understandable to the American audience. I'm sorry, guys. And yeah, are you really profitable at the moment? Oh boy. It's the fucking Eastern question. Sure. Oh, I've got to humiliate Casus Belli and the Russian Empire. I'm certainly going to use this. I believe I've got the fucking events which are destroying my challenge or whatever. Right. I need to get alliance with Prussia. Otherwise, I'm never going to. There we go. I've added these guys to Sphere. Incredible. Oh. Surge of liberalism. Do we have... Am I still banned from here? Fuck you, France. Time to Sphere the little tiny shit. Sure. Now, we're about to... The Crimean War is going on. Now, in real life, we would join the Crimean War. Or if we were, like, playing historically accurate, we would join the Crimean War because... Cavour was a giant, like, fucking 90 chess expanded brain, Giga Chad level guy. So what he did was he joined the Crimean War because he wanted to bring the Italian issue to a general European to a general European diplomatic level. And to do that, he would need Sardinia-Piedmont to sort of be seen as a partner... Election fraud. Sure. Let's use it to get some reforms. To a general European... Yes, to the general European sort of public discourse, which of course meant sort of the bourgeois, intellectual newspaper, sort of republic of intellectuals that was rising at this time period. People who sort of discussed international affairs with very serious airs. Because he knew that governments would listen to these people. So he had sort of a two-level parallel sort of diplomatic offensive going on, one with the governments of Europe and one with the sort of establishments. I've got some constitutional monarchy. With the sort of establishments of the... Oh, that means that we can now no longer click. Right, that's problematic. That's somewhat problematic. Yo, why am I not building the steel mill? Whatever. Gonna use the limited time I've got to build as much shit as possible. Do I have glass? Yes, I've got glass. I've got cements. I've got cements. Oh, shit. Now I cannot build anymore. Right. I can already tell that my industry is going to be a bit of an issue. Anyway, time to build up my stockpiles. Oh, this is going to be expensive. The when you build up the artillery stockpile, that's expensive, because that costs 3 times as much as canned goods. Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not sure I'm gonna help the Polish. Yeah, I don't got no Polish people in here. Man, I can't wait until I can desphere these guys from the Pope. It's gonna take for fucking ever, though. Right. Anyway, really, you're not going to accept distance, army strength, navy strength, base reluctance. What in the flying fuck? Shouldn't you have, like, strategic considerations to be allied with me? Don't you have a war to fight with the Austrians? Don't you have shitty relations with Austria? Whatever. How long have I been rambling? 29 minutes, okay. We're very nearly done. We're almost ready for the next sort of rumble. How many troops you got? 96. As soon as I've got the alliance with these guys, which should be happening at some point. Actually, I mean, I've got, I'm allied with 2 Sicilies, right? Yeah. Oh, shit, but, I mean, I could just justify acquire state on these guys. Oh, I've still got a truce. Oh, okay, fine. Alright. Still making money. Fucking getting nationalism and... I mean, right. Once I get nationalism and imperialism, I just click this and I get the... I should get the reduced CB from this one. Like the reduced cost CB. Like the Italian unity CB thing. I can't do the Plombier Accords because... Now, the Plombier Accords was basically when Cavour convinced Napoleon III, after a bunch of this diplomatic maneuvering that I might have time to describe later, to help out Sardinia-Piedmont and destroy Austria. Now, Cavour's project was sort of to slowly but surely build a sort of united kingdom of northern Italy with the Savoys at the head, which would then eventually eat central Italy, and eventually, like, down the line, like dozens of years down the line, eat southern Italy as well. No one was expecting that it would all happen in 2 years, basically. And from 1859 to 1861, you have that from this, which was basically the shape of Sardinia-Piedmont before 1848. It would go to all of this, except this region. So, yeah, the 1859 to 1861 for Italy are 2 insane years. And it all starts with basically a guy just doing 5D chess in diplomacy, which is why, like, there's sort of a weird... there's sort of a weird kind of... not really cult of personality, but, like... Yeah, just, like... You know, the official historiography is, like, very reverential towards Cavour, which is understandable, because probably if he had not existed, he's one of those figures in history that, had he not existed, it's debatable whether Italy would have formed in 1861 at all. It probably would have taken longer. At the time, there's even, like, testimonies of German people going like, wow, like, if only Germany had Cavour, like, we'd already have a united Germany, because this guy is a real fucking genius. We've got fucking Bismarck. This guy's a fucking clown. Like, we're talking this level of fucking, like, 5D diplomatic genius or whatever. Yo, Russia, are you okay? You're not killing Lithuania. What the fuck is going on with the events in this mod? What the fuck is up with Why does Lithuania have Minsk and like, Belarus? Okay. Russia, would you join an alliance with me? You seem pretty useless, but, like, infamy. Yeah, no one's gonna ally me, man. No one's gonna ally me. That's kind of an issue, but if the Pope and shit join me, or the Pope, if the 2 Sicilies and shit join me, then we shouldn't have issues, because these guys got a lot of brigades, 26. We've got 35 brigades coming in from the AI, plus, like, the Austrians are going to have, like, what, 120, 130. We're going to have 3 mobilized tech, we're going to have 40. But, like, their good generals are going to have died. And we've got big brain. We've got big human brain. So I'm pretty confident in human brain this time. I'm not gonna be retarded this time. I know what to expect. Although it would be kind of better if we could have, like, some kind of help. Would also be nice if just randomly the red shirts spawn and just unite Italy for us. But anyways, we're gonna end it right here because it's probably been way too long that I've been rambling. Really, only 67 research points? Fuck you, game. Fuck you. Fuck you, game. Anyways, after this, we're gonna get all the military techs and we're gonna go to war with Austria and we're gonna fucking kill them. He's got 9 army tech. We're gonna have more army tech. Guaranteed. Like, our research is pretty good. We've got 50% literacy. There's no way Austria can keep us up in research. Anyways, so probably towards the end of the decade, we're going to war with Austria and we're gonna fucking kill them. And the episode's over. Next time, we talk more about Cavour and possibly even about Garibaldi. Because, yeah, Garibaldi, pretty important guy. And also, we're gonna talk about fucking industrial development in the Sardinia-Piedmont, because it's not going as well as historical, but it's okay. It's okay. We're the 8th largest industry. We're probably not the 8th largest population by far. So yeah, industry. It's a pretty good idea. You know who else thought that industry was a pretty good idea? Cavour. We're gonna talk more about that next time. Fuck you. Bye. Haha, I paused.